You're just greedy. You don't care about me, only about money. My father's voice shook with anger. Our family home was my inheritance, our history. But now he stood before me, protecting the woman who wanted to take it all away. This house is no longer yours, accept it. My stepmother gripped his hand, her eyes shining with fake pain. If you can't accept my decision, then you are no longer my son. My father pointed at the door, and in that moment, everything inside me broke. We had always been close, especially after my mother's death. But when my father remarried, things changed. His new wife was sweet at first, but soon she started turning him against me. One day I overheard her whisper, "Your son is just using you. He doesn't appreciate you." Her voice slithered like poison. I didn't understand what was happening until my uncle called me one day. "I just found out your dad wants to sign the house over to her son." My blood ran cold. This wasn't just a house, it was our family's legacy. When I confronted my father, he hesitated. "You don't need this," he murmured. My stepmother sat beside him, watching with quiet confidence. I could barely control my anger. "Are you serious, Dad? This is our home, our family, and you're just giving it away? At least my son respects him, unlike you," she snapped. I knew something was wrong. My uncle, a former lawyer, helped me check the documents, and there it was, a clause that no one had mentioned. If the heirs didn't meet certain conditions, the estate would return to me. My stepmother had hoped I wouldn't find out. That night, my phone rang. It was my father. His voice was shaking. "I need your help. She's pressuring me to sign tomorrow, but something feels wrong. She's leaving early in the morning." My pulse quickened. "I'll come first thing. Don't sign anything." The next day I arrived and asked to see the final papers, and there it was, the clause that changed everything. My father paled as he read it. Just as he was about to speak, the door burst open. "What is this nonsense? That clause is ancient. It doesn't count." My stepmother's voice was sharp, her face twisted with panic. I froze, surprised to see her back so soon, but I quickly gathered my thoughts. Actually, it changes everything, and the court will decide. For the first time, I saw it, doubt in my father's eyes instead of blind trust. The trial was tense. My stepmother's fury barely hid her desperation. "This isn't fair. That clause is outdated." The judge studied the papers, then looked at her. "The law clearly states the inheritance conditions. This clause is valid and legally binding." She turned to my father, her voice breaking. "Tell them! This was our agreement!" My father exhaled slowly, then lifted his head. "Enough!" The judge made his decision. "The estate remains with the plaintiff's family. This ruling is final." When it was over, we drove home in silence. Then, in a broken whisper, my father said, "I almost made the biggest mistake of my life." I looked at him. "But you didn't, Dad. You fixed it." I had saved our family's legacy, but more importantly, I had gotten my father back.